Hello and welcome. My name is Roger Quayle, and you are listening to My Life in the Mosh of Ghosts. Hello there, and welcome back to My Life in the Mosh of Ghosts. My name is Roger Quayle, and thank you for joining me. Today's episode is Gig 22, and I'm going to be telling you about a band called I'm So Hollow, who were one of the very best bands of this era, late 70s, early 80s, in Sheffield. This episode also talks about the Blitz Club, which was an important hub for creative types in Sheffield during this time. So here we go then. It's I'm So Hollow at the first night of the Blitz Club at the George IV pub on Tuesday, the 27th of November, 1979.
Pulling the sheets up over my face, the only place I know I'll be safe.
I'm So Hollow are laying siege to a monstrous slab of rock entitled I Don't Know. I can relate to the lyrics. It's a dangerous, uncertain world out there beyond the blankets. Just 2 weeks ago, a computer glitch at the US nuclear weapons headquarters, NORAD, almost triggered World War III. In Tehran, rebel students loyal to the Ayatollah Khomeini have seized the US embassy. And here at home, the unyielding size 5 heel of Thatcher is starting to leave its indelible mark. All soundtracked by When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman by the poisonous Dr. Hook. I'm at the first night of the Blitz Club, watching local Sheffield band I'm So Hollow with around 100 like-minded souls. And it feels safe. We are in the upstairs function room of a pub called the George IV on Infirmary Road. A 2-bus journey to the industrial hinterland halfway between the city centre and Hillsborough. Across the road, the unbroken serpentine zigzag of Kelvin Flats tower above me like domino slabs blinking in the November night. Blitz is being promoted by John Blyther, better known as Disco John, an architecture student at Sheffield University, with help from fanzine writer Martin X. Russian and local musician Russ Russian. Disco John is a member at Pip's nightclub in Manchester, the North's premier stable for clothes horses of both sexes, with its rooms dedicated to Roxy, Bowie and soul. With a knowing nod to the emerging Covent Garden venue of the same name. This is John's attempt to create a similar inclusive atmosphere in Sheffield. Cool, underground, independent music for independently minded folk and their kin. So we're miles away from the leery lads and lasses who frequent the boorish Stonehouse and Pig and Whistle meat markets. We're away from the weekend new wavers with their ex-closed threads and jam shoes from Rabina, queuing for the Limit Club on a Saturday night. Here we are then, far from the glassing crowd, a shower of raincoats festooned with badges and brooches indicating musical, sexual and political preferences. Young heads, freshly hennaed and hairsprayed, fashionable flea marketeers, our trashy wardrobe by War on Want. There's a vague Wild West feel to the room at the George IV, and in the coming months this unlikely saloon will become a post-punk Ponderosa for the local Drone Rangers and Bell Stars. We're all watched over by Gentleman Jim Reeves, his portrait smiling down from the wall, oblivious to the crushing cannonade of not-so-distant drums. I'm So Hollow's Sticksman, Joe Sawicki, has a kit the size of Chesterfield. There are more drums than an oil refinery perched on the small, low stage at one end of the room. So the rest of the band are squeezed in around him. Bass player Gary Marsden is gaunt but gorgeous. I've never seen a picture of a young Klaus Kinski, but I imagine he'd look something like Gary. Barely out front are vocalists Rod Lee and Jane Wilson. Rod plays guitar, looks like a cubist painting, and sings in a droll, sardonic, nasal voice that's defiantly and unfashionably northern in tone. Jane Wilson, a Tushingham tomboy with a Louise Brooks bob cut, plays the appropriately named Wasp synthesizer, stinging stabs of harsh white noise. Jane sings in a measured, crisp parlando, a lamb's bleat that somehow seems to fit perfectly amidst the leonine roar of the rhythm section. The band are neatly turned out. Black peg pants and muted, buttoned-up shirts is the dress code, but with Rod breaking rank in an unlikely, chunky knit jumper. This is the second time I've seen I'm So Hollow. I was impressed at the Penthouse Club earlier in the summer, when my friends the Stunt Kites supported them. Second time around, and their songs are starting to stick. The giddy, spangled rush of fashion is played twice tonight. The punishing martial tattoos at the beginning of Monotony are a prelude to a higgledy-piggledy thrash with a go-be-dry punchline. I repeat, this is not a repeat, from Rod. The seething anti-duet, Touch, thought crime made flesh by Jane and Rod, shudders through the speakers, and the aforementioned monolithic I Don't Know is Jane's centrepiece. The song, dirge-like, unstoppable. The singer, unblinking, exquisite, and unknowable. We stare on, spellbound. Behind the band is a wall of mirror tiles. We watch the band, and beyond the band we catch glimpses of ourselves, lost in the moment. Just enough reflected narcissism to keep us warm on the last bus home. I'm surrounded by musicians, non-musicians, artists, piss artists, students, posers, losers, and drug abusers. I feel right at home. I feel safe. You have been listening to My Life in the Mosh of Ghosts with me, your host, Roger Quayle. Very special thanks to Jane Antcliff, aka Jane Wilson, for doing the vocals. Thank you to Rionagh for the artwork, and to Simon Elliott Kemp for the intro and outro music. See you all again soon for another episode from My Life in the Mosh of Ghosts. Thanks a lot, and bye bye.